Today, I'm going to be showing you how to send cards in for grading to PSA so you can turn your raw cards into graded cards just like this. I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how to maneuver the PSA website like a pro so you don't make the same rookie mistakes like I did when I first started. So first off, should you buy the Collectors Club membership? There's two options, $149 a year, $199 a year. To go over this stuff, so with the $199 a year option, you get Card Ladder Pro. If you don't know what Card Ladder is, it's this site that will actually just show you comps of cards. So I could type in Prism, right? Prism, Silver, Stroud 2023. And it's a very good and accurate site for giving comps of cards. So you get that with the membership, and that's about $20 a year. But with this, you get it for free. Bulk grading. So I'll go into this a little bit more, but you can't use the bulk grading unless you have a membership. Grading specials. So they run random discounts like, hey, for the next 2 weeks, any Pokemon using this service, we're discounting it by $5. You can only use that stuff if you have the membership. Then the PSA magazine subscription, which I don't know anyone that reads. Actually, I take that back. It's probably kind of interesting. I just get it in the mail and I never actually read it. But the bottom line is, yes, if you plan on doing sports cards even a little bit, I would do the $199 a year membership. PSA gets you. The reason they want you paying them every single year, they probably lose money on all this stuff. But the way they make money is because you're paying them, you're more likely to send cards to them. That's how they make their money. So the bottom line answer is yes, you should use this. How to actually start a submission and send cards in for grading. So this site does change over time, but for now, if you see here, it says start submission. These things, PSA has some other options now where you could sell cards on eBay with them. You could put cards in the PSA vault. So they'll just hold your cards. Like I buy a lot of higher end cards and I hold my cards in the alt vault, ALT vault. It just has a little bit better pricing, but they have a few other options now. But for all intents and purposes, right, we're talking about grading. So you're going to click grade with PSA. And me, I do the classic submission because you have some more options there. And now there's a bunch of different options, right? You could grade trading cards, which are just regular cards, oversized cards, packs. So you could actually grade packs of cards. Like I just bought a 1980 Topps pack that was graded in a PSA holder, a PSA 8. I know it's crazy. You can grade anything. You could really grade dolls now. You could grade video games. It's insane, actually. Magazines, coins, and pins, and tickets, like a ticket to a game. Like I know that a Michael Jordan ticket from his first game went for like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we are talking about trading cards here. So you're going to use trading cards. This is where it gets a little interesting. So let me go over what each of these mean. So grading is going to be the most common, right? You have a raw card that's not graded. You want to send it in for grading. Now you could choose to get your card the autograph graded. You could have the autograph only, the card grade only, or no grade to card and autograph. So this only authenticates it. So it's just saying, hey, it's real. They're not actually giving it a grade. Only check this on one, obviously, if the card is an autograph. If you're getting a card graded that doesn't have an autograph. Number two, just a little pro tip. Do not get an autograph graded unless you are 100% certain it is a 10 autograph, that it is crystal clean. If the autograph has a little streak in it or it's running off the card, I would not get that autograph graded because even if the card grades at 10, it'll say autograph 9 and it will diminish the value by 20, 30, or 40%, as opposed to if the card grades at PSA 10 with a 10 autograph, what's going to end up happening is that card will jump up in value about 10 to 20%. So the risk isn't worth it unless you're 100% sure that the autograph is perfect, okay? And if you're not sure, don't click this on. Or you could send in cards for review. So this could be a card that's graded a PSA 8 that you don't think is a PSA 8. So you can send it back to PSA and they'll review it. A lot of times they don't upgrade the card. A crossover. So this could be a card from, let's say, Beckett that you want to put into a PSA holder, but you don't want to take the card out of the Beckett holder. So you're just asking them and saying, hey, this card is in this Beckett holder. Keep it in this Beckett holder. If it's a PSA 10, put it in a PSA 10 holder. It doesn't work a lot of the time. And then you could get it a reholder. So what that means is, let's say PSA sent you a card and the holder's cracked because stuff happens in the mail. You could get it re-put in there. And I believe it is usually free. I've never actually done it myself, but if PSA screws up, they will pay for it. For what we're doing right now, grading, let's roll with that. And now there's a bunch of different services. So this is where I got tripped up a lot, and it is a little bit confusing. You have the lowest end service. You could only use TCG for this service. TCG is Pokemon, Disney, Magic the Gathering, stuff like that, not sports cards. This doesn't work for sports cards, okay? And this is going to take about 95 business days to get back to you, which I'll get into in a second. Now, you have value bulk. This is where you could start to use sports cards, but only 1979 and older. Then you have this is the cheapest option you could use with modern sports cards, $21. Keep an eye where it says insurance value, okay? You cannot send a $3,000 card and use this level of service. You could, and what'll happen is it's going to take 95 business days to get back to you. But when PSA looks at the card and they grade it, they're going to upcharge you. So you think you're paying $22 for this card to get graded, but you're actually not. They're actually going to charge you whatever they think it's worth. Probably they're going to upcharge you to this service. So if you have a card that's $1,000, you must follow this max insurance value. So just another example, if you have a card that's $4,000, you can't use this 15-day service. You want to use the Super Express because it's under $5,000, but it's over $2,500 if a card's worth $4,000. And yeah, you got to pay $299, but the card gets back to you a lot faster. So that's what this max insurance value means. And this is the screwed up part. I'm going to say something that a lot of people hate and don't like about this is their upcharging process. So let me give you an example. So about a year and a half ago, I bought a 2018 Bowman Chrome Otani Atomic BGS 9. The card was worth about $9,000. So I used this service level. It was going to cost me $600 to get this card graded, which is already ridiculous to begin with, right? But the card, I cracked it out. I sent it to PSA. It actually got a 10. So I thought I was paying $600 for it, but now the card was worth $30,000 because it was a PSA 10, and they charged me this level. So back in the day, a year ago and a half ago, they charged me $1,500. The card is worth $9,000 when it went in, but because it came out a PSA 10, I no longer could use their lower service level. So what ended up happening is I got upcharged, and what I thought was going to be a few $100 bill at the time ended up being about $1,500. So PSA kind of gets you a little bit because they're able to charge you more money when you're happier. I didn't mind paying an extra $1,000 because I was like, well, I'm going to make $20,000 on the card. It's a little funny, right? Because they get to dictate whether they charge you more or not, because they're the ones who dictate whether the card grades a PSA 10 or not. It's an interesting system. Take it for how you want. Let's roll forward let's use this $28 service. This is 75 business days it's going to get back to you in. Another thing to mention about this 75 business days. This is the 75 business days from when the process starts. This is also a little bit messed up. So if I send a card into PSA and it arrives in 3 days from now, PSA, as I'm speaking right now, it takes them a few weeks to open up the mail because their mailroom is so backed up. So what ends up happening is this 75 business day process doesn't start until they open up your package. I had an $8,000 card that took them a few weeks to open. Okay. So it's really a lot longer than that. And they're just backlogged. But let's use this service level for the example we're going to use. So we click select and continue. And let's say, they have almost every card in here. Let's 2023 Prism Silver Stroud. So let's do this one. This is his Silver Prism. And you select the quantity of how many you want to get graded. Usually you're going to have one. Optional, you could pick more insurance, but I wouldn't, to be honest. That's just kind of how I do it. And now it's in your checkout. So if you have 7 different cards or 10 different cards or 20 different cards, you're going to repeat this process over and over. So you'll see this queue fill up with all these cards. You'll proceed to checkout, and then you have a few options. You could ship on your own. You could drop it off at a PSA event. So PSA actually goes to card shows and different events. You could go and drop it off, or you could purchase a shipping label straight from them, which is what I recommend personally. It makes it a lot easier. And then also you could pick one of these after the service. Do you want PSA to hold your card? Do you want them to sell it for you on auction on eBay or ship back to me? Me personally, I get my cards shipped back to me because I like to sell them at card shows and on Facebook and Instagram. I use eBay auctions as kind of a last resort. So I don't do this, but that's just kind of how I do things. And then you'll review order, you'll pay, and I'll leave you off with this. They're going to give you a few different documents. And if you guys enjoy this video, I'll do a full-on one where I show you how to package them properly and etc. A few things to mention that I think are important is one, use a penny sleeve and card saver. That's how PSA likes their cards to come in, and obviously face the card forward, not backwards. Make their life as easy as possible. When you do package the card, this is a mistake that I made relatively recently, is they're going to give you a few different papers to fold up and put inside of the box. There's a little barcode. You want to stick that outside of the box so you can visibly see it. And the reason you should do that is because, like I just mentioned before, I had about an $8,000 Jaden Daniels card that took them weeks to open. If you have an expensive card, they're not going to take weeks to open, and they know that card's expensive because they'll scan the barcodes in their mailroom. So that's how PSA operates. That's how to send a card off for grading. Hopefully that cleared things up for you guys a little bit, because I know that stuff tripped me up a lot when I was first starting. I'll put a PDF down below in the description of this video that'll break everything down I'm talking about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you folks in the next one.